response team. Today I'm going to talk about dark web and dark net. You might have seen in various news like recent data breaches, ransomware attacks, and other kind of threat intel, where news comes like the things are available over the darknet. In this talk, I will discuss about what is the concept behind the darknet, what is the concept behind the dark web, what are the idea of Tor browser, and how the darknet is being created, how it works, what are the concept of anonymous services, what are the good things, what are the bad things about the dark web, and whether there is any practical use of dark web or not. What are the possible organizational risk that is possible that may occur with the use of darknet, and what are the set of preventive measures that we can follow to prevent suffering from the attacks of originated from. Now, let's start with the definition of darknet. It simply an overlay network within the internet that can only be accessed with specific software, configurations, or authorization, and often uses a unique customized communication protocol. There are few terms like this is an overlay network. This kind of network is created on the top of TCP/IP layer protocol, and this to access such kind of network, we need a specific set of software, a specific set of configuration, and a set of customized communication protocol to access darknet. On the other side, dark web is simply the websites which exist over the darknet. The history of darknet starts from 1970s itself. At that time, the darknet was a very common term which was parallelly used with the mainstream of ARPANET, means those part of content which was not exist with the mainstream of ARPANET, that was considered as a darknet. Later, in 1990s, US Department of Defense has started developing a project so that communication can be established between two parties using a purely encrypted network and using anonymized entities. Their aim was that whatever communication we are performing over the secret network, that should not be known to anyone. But this idea could not work, and later many researchers has utilized this concept and motivated from this concept of anonymity, that this thing can be used for various activities. Various activities. Let us first understand why privacy and anonymity is not present in TCP/IP protocol, and why such darknet concept have been proposed. If we simply look at TCP/IP protocol, then we will understand that like I want to communicate with a website, that is internet server, then during the request, I will just simply put what are the data which I am requesting, what is my source IP address, what is my source port number, and I will also include what is my destination IP address, means the IP address of the web server, the port number at which it is providing the services, and I will simply forward this request to the web server. And if a web server wants to reply back, then it will simply include the reply of the data and will include the IP address and port number of the sender, as well as IP address and port number of the server. So all these data will traverse through the internet and will received by the sender and receiver. So if we observe this kind of communication, then we will find that anybody who is sitting between internet, like man in the middle, then he can simply observe that these two IP addresses are performing the communication. And if the communication is not encrypted, then the person who is sitting in the middle can observe that what are the data that is being transferred between the sender and receivers. So here, privacy of data is missing, and anybody, either the web server or anybody in the middle of the internet, can know that which two IP addresses are performing the communication. So can we achieve maximum level of privacy and entire set of anonymity during the internet communication? Means I want to access the internet, but no one should knows about it, means which user is accessing the internet. I will also discuss whether such kind of property is really good or not in the later part of the talk. So let us first understand what is privacy. Privacy means this is the right of individuals so that he can control over which kind of information he wants to share. This property becomes more important after the introduction of new laws like GDPR or the draft bill of Indian Personal Data Protection Bills. So privacy is always a controversial topics, like how much privacy a user should achieve during the internet communication. So it is defined under two categories, like users privacy or data privacy. Simply anonymity means can a user should get a service where his identity should not be revealed. Means the server or any person who is sitting between the internet should not know which two persons are talking about. We will talk about both user anonymity and the service anonymity. So if we look at the TCP/IP protocol, then we will find out that these two properties are missing, because anybody who is in the middle can know that which IP address are performing the communication. Now, so the earlier discussion was why such property is required, why I should be anonymous. So there has been various arguments given by the research community that there are many cases, there are many good causes where we required some anonymous type of communication. Let us discuss some examples. Like if we observe the internet traffic, then we will realize that all the search are being recorded. Our web server record everything, the nature of the search, like we are searching about movies, we are searching about the cricket scores, or we are searching about the restaurant. So all our search are being recorded, and whenever we later visit the internet, then these search history are used as a data mining, and web server started monetizing those data. And similarly, sensitive topics, whenever we want to perform a search on sensitive topics, like you want to search about some data which are banned within your country, like you cannot access the website of some country XYZ, or you cannot access the web pages of another country XYZ. So those topics, how you can access that? Or your organization has blocked some websites, but still for a good cause, for a cyber security purposes, you want to access those websites for the analysis purposes. Private data, the user does not know with how many parties their data is being shared, or the web servers are keeping surveillance upon the users, like how much time he spends on the internet, which type of behavior or pattern the user is performing. or in journalism, if anybody wants to post about some local news, but he does not want to reveal his identity, or he wants to put different viewpoints without revealing their identity, then how he can put. Similarly, human rights wings, I wanted to report about some terrorism informations or some rape activities or some illegal activities, then how can someone can report these activities using without revealing their identity. Similarly, for law enforcement officers, many of the IPs are being blocked. If the web server realized that this request is coming from a particular organization, so these kind of things can be blocked. So these are the examples that have been provided by the research communities, and they have argued that during such kind of communication, we will require a special property, that is anonymity. So we will first discuss how this darknet or the concept of Tor browser achieves the anonymity, and a later part we will discuss about how these properties are used by the cyber criminals, and they are using they are using it for different kind of cyber attacks. And in the last, I will discuss how an organization can prevent itself from being suffered from the attacks that is originated from the dark web. So I will discuss about the concept of Tor, the onion router, the concept of Tor browser, the concept of darknet and dark website, and dark web search engines. So Tor project was started with the intention of we should provide the maximum level of privacy and the complete set of anonymity during the communication. So the aim was to create internet connection that do not reveal who is talking to whom, even to someone who is monitoring the network. Their aim was to create and deploy the first research design and prototype of onion routings. Okay, so the entire darknet is consist of darknet, Tor browser, and a set of onion websites or anonymous services. We will discuss one by one. So the first thing is how we can access the darknet. For this, we need a special software that is called as Tor browser. This Tor browser is a very well designed browser. It has a well-defined communication protocol. It has well-defined a set of services, and it knows that how the darknet can be accessed using this Tor browser. So it was designed using the modified Mozilla Firefox, and it consists of a Tor launcher using which we can start this browser. So this contains means this does not contains any script, and always uses HTTPS protocol for the communication. Whenever we visit anything using the Tor browser, all the data traffic are routed through the Tor network. And how it achieves the privacy? Every time when visit the internet using this browser, it always deletes our browsing history, our cookies values, and all the information which are stored by the web server. All these things are deleted by upon the termination of session by the Tor browser. So since it deletes cookies, so later web server cannot identify which user was earlier performed the communication, so they cannot use those data for their monetizing purposes. Similarly, since all the traffic of Tor browser is passes through the Tor network, so it achieves the property of anonymity. This browser is also known as onion proxies. When we will install it, it will select a different kind of node that is being used within the darknet. These nodes are kept at a special server that is called as distributed directory server. Multiple server work as a directory server from where this Tor browser fetch the list of defined onion routers node that is called as entry node, exit node, and relay node. These node will be used to establish communication with the Tor network. This browser is available for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux, and it is also available for your Android mobiles. Now the next thing is onion routers. These are special systems or special computer systems which have installed onion router services. Whenever traffic comes from any Tor browser, then it is received by the onion routers and forwarded further. So onion router can consist of multiple kind of node, like they can consist of entry node. The onion router can be the relay node, or the onion router can be exit node. So entry node are those nodes from where our browser's traffic will enter into the Tor network. Relay node are the middle node using which the traffic will be forwarded to the exit node. And the exit node are the very special node from where our Tor traffic will leave the Tor network and will enter into the normal network. So whenever we install a browser, it decides which node it has to select as an entry node, which node it has to select as a relay node, and which node it has to select as an exit node. Since this entire network is created on the top of TCP/IP layer protocol, so it does not needs to include any specific set of hardware. Only the specific set of software changes, we can create this Tor network. So whenever a Tor browser select an exit node, it select for which purpose I am going to use this exit node. Like exit node defines that which service they are going to provide, whether they will provide HTTP services, whether they are going to provide email services, or whether they are going to provide HTTPS services. So browser will decide that it has to select an appropriate node for an exit node. So any computer system having public IP can become exit node. For this, it has to register himself at some directory server. So during the registration phase, it will announce that this is the IP address where I am running a relay services, and my system can be used as a onion router. The node will define that what will be the bandwidth, means how much traffic I can forward and I can take as an input. The exit node will also define what will be my exit policy, means which kind of services I'm going to provide. All these things will be registered at some directory server. Okay. So how this network is being created? The concept is based upon some beautiful cryptographic algorithm. It uses multiple kind of encryption keys, cryptographic keys using which the entire network is being established. So any in the nodes, different entities uses different kind of cryptographic keys. Like Onion router uses two key. One key is called as onion key, and another key is called as identification key. Identification key is used when an exit node is registering himself at the directory server. Using this key, he can register himself to the directory server. Onion key is used to establish a communication between either with another relay node or exit node, or with the browser. And the short key K, that is used by the browser to establish communication with different nodes. During the creation of the network, it uses different kind of cryptographic algorithm. Like all the traffics are transferred by using encryption algorithm. Like for the creation of circuit, it uses public key encryption. For transferring of data, it uses symmetric key encryption, and it also uses a standard hash function and Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. All these algorithms are beautifully implemented for creation of Tor network. So how this entire route is being created? Like suppose a sender which wants to create which wants to access some websites and wants to hide its identity. So for this, first of all, it will select 3 nodes. The first will be Onion router 1, router 2, and router 3. The first is called can be called as entry node. The second will be relay node, and the last one will be exit node. Onion routers has already defined its identity key and its onion key. So whenever our browser, we download the browser, so the browser select the entry node, exit node, and relay node. During the selection time, this router will share its key values that can be used for the communication. With these key values, the browser will start creating a circuit. Circuit is a special kind of path that is created over the TCP/IP layer protocol, and this circuit, the entire data that will be transferred from either from browser to router or from router to router, all these traffic will be forwarded through the circuit. So during the creation, the sender first will create the circuit with the sender and the router 1. So this will create a contract that whenever I will transfer the data, I will use an identifier that is called as circuit 1. And after successfully creation of the circuit, the sender will ask router 1 that create a circuit for me with router 2. Now, the router 1 will create a circuit with router 2. When the circuit will create it till the router 2, it will ask, the sender will ask router 2 that create a circuit for me with router 3. So a dedicated path is being created with the circuit 1, circuit 2, and circuit 3. So it also assign a contract that whenever router 1 will receive anything from circuit 1, it will immediately forward to the circuit 2. Similarly, whenever router 2 will receive anything from circuit 2, it will forward to the circuit 3. And during the reply, if router 2 is receiving anything from circuit 3, it will upload to the circuit 2, And if anything is received from the circuit 2, then router 1 will immediately forward to the circuit 1. So during the with the concept of circuit, all the data is forwarded from sender to the router 3. Now router 3 is the exit node. This will perform the actual communication with the web services, like from any websites. So all the data that is forwarded from the sender to the router 3, these are encrypted with a different encryption key. Like with router 1 there is a key K1, with router 2 there is a key K2, and with router 3 there is a key K3. So sender will prepare different data for each router. So here sender is preparing a ciphertext C1 for router 1, a ciphertext C2 for router 2, and a ciphertext C3 for router 3. All these ciphertext are prepared by the sender itself. How this is being prepared? Like first the sender encrypt the message like I want to transfer some data to facebook.com over the port number 80. So this is called as the message M. This message is encrypted using key K3, and the sender will include identifier circuit 3 and the IP address of the router exit node, router 3. Then this C3 data will be encrypted using key K2, and an identifier circuit 2 will be included, and the IP address of router 2 will be included in that. Then the C2 will be encrypted using key K2, and it will include the identifier circuit 1 and router 1. So we are performing layer wise encryption. Means first the original data is encrypted using key K3, then the data is encrypted using key K2, and later the resultant data is encrypted using key K1. So this multiple layer encryption can be thought as onion. Like onion has multiple set of layer. Similarly, this data set has multiple set of layers. Each layer is designated for different entities. So when the router 1 will receive this ciphertext C1, then it knows that this data is encrypted using key K1, and since encryption key is known by the router, he can perform the decryption. Upon the decryption, it will see that I have to forward something to router 2 using this circuit ID second. When router 2 will receive the data, it will receive the C2. Since C2 is encrypted using the key value K2, router 2 knows that knows this key value, so he can perform the decryption. After performing the decryption, he will see that this data is for router 3, and I have to transfer it using circuit ID 3. When router 3 will receive the data, it will see that there is something which I have to forward to the facebook.com over the port number 80, and the data he can simply forward to that website. Now, if you look the pattern of this this kind of transaction, then you will notice that during the communication between sender and router 1, the entire traffic is encrypted as a ciphertext 1. Since the key value is known only by the router 1, so anybody who is sitting between this network, this part of the network, he will know that these two parties are performing the communication, but he cannot identify that who is the real receiver. Similarly, anyone who is sitting between the router 1 and router 2, he will know that a ciphertext C2 is being transferred, and this transfer is taking place between router 1 and router 2. But the person who is sitting in the middle cannot identify what is the actual data that is being transferred. Similarly, the person who is sitting between router 2 and router 3, he will notice that a ciphertext C3 is being transferred and cannot identify who is the actual receiver. Similarly, when the web server will receive the request, he will get to know that router 3 is performing the communication, but the web server cannot identify who is the real sender. And during the reply, it's entirely depend upon web server that whether it wants to reply or not. If web server reply, then it will simply add a reply that add a reply to the router 3, because the web server knows only the IP address of the router 3. So now the responsibility of router 3 is to prepare a message for this Tor network. So whenever a reply, here I'm denoting as a R, whenever the router 3 will receive the reply R from a web server, he will prepare a ciphertext C4 using the encryption key K3, and it will upload to the circuit 3 for the router 2. When router 2 will receive the message, he will again encrypt it using K2, and it will upload to the circuit 2. When router 1 will receive, it will again encrypt it using K1 and will upload it on the circuit 1. So each intermediary node, whatever key they know, on the basis of that, they are performing the encryption. Since here we can see the C4 is transferred from router 3 to R2, then router 2 prepare a C5 and transfer to the router 1, then router 1 prepare C6 and transfer to the sender. If we observe this data, then the sender is actually receiving a data which has encrypted multiple times using the key K1, K2 and K3. Since the sender knows all the key values, it knows the encryption key K1, it knows the K2 and K3, it can simply perform multiple level of decryption to receive the actual value. So this was the concept using which any sender can hide its identity and perform an anonymous communication. So anybody who is sitting between these Tor network cannot identify who is the actual sender who is performing the communication. And one of the disadvantage of this kind of model is, since it is using multiple level of encryption and decryption at the level of sender as well as at the level of routers. So because of this several layer of encryption and decryption, the speed of the processing becomes slow. So this was the idea how one can retain their identity, one can hide their identity and access some web services. Similarly, can anyone provide services using the concept of this darknet? So providing services using the darknet is called as anonymized services, or it is called as anonymous services, or some people call it as hidden services. In our common languages, sometimes we refer it as a dark websites, those websites which cannot identified from where they are providing the services. If we look at TCP/IP protocol, then we know what is the IP address of the website, like what is the IP address of facebook.com, what is the IP address of google.com. And in the case of dark website, we cannot identify from which IP address this this website is providing the services. Let us first understand how this dark website work, and later we will discuss how cyber criminals are using it for multiple bad purposes, multiple fraudulent activities. So dark website or any anonymous website end with .onion, like I have given one of the example of a dark website that is shown in the red color. So it has a suffix .onion. So whenever anyone wants to create a dark website, it simply publish its address on a different media channels, like they paste on the paste bin or different social media websites that these this dark website came into the market. And the creator of this dark website always try to change their IP addresses so that they can hide himself from different different law enforcement agencies. So these websites can be accessed using a specific set of browser, that is Tor browser. So how this website is being created? Like a person who wants to create a dark website, here I'm giving the name Bob. First, he will select two keys. One is his public key and the second is private key. Based upon his public key and his private key, he will generate a .onion address using a hash function. Hash is a standard hash with a standard hash function. He will simply pass his public key and will generate a .onion address. And after generating this onion address, he will select 3 onion router that will work as a IPO, IP address offering point, using which anyone can communicate and access this dark services. After selection of these 3 IPO and this onion address, he will simply register himself this domain and IPO to a directory server. Directory server has a DNS lookup services using which any browser can know what is the IP address corresponded to this onion website. So if a user or a Tor browser wants to access this web services, he can simply contact to the directory server and can find out the list of IPs that is designated by the this anonymous services for the communication purpose. Now, after fetching the list of the onion website and fetching its corresponding IP addresses, now the user can perform the communication to access hidden services. For this, first of all, it will select a rendezvous point. These are the special node using which the user or the browser wants to get a reply back. Means during the sending of the request, the different path will be followed, and during the reply, the user will decide using which onion router it wants to get the reply back. So whenever it wants to send a request to the onion services, it will simply include the circuit ID, the cookie value, and the address of the onion router during the sending of the request. Now This request will be forwarded through the Tor network and will be received by the by the by the anonymous services. Now, it's entirely depend upon that dark website whether it wants to reply back or not. When if he wants to reply, then it will include the set of reply that it wants to transfer and will include the list of rendezvous point using which the reply will go back. This we can see from the diagram. In the step 1, the IPO was defined. In the step 2, the hidden server has registered himself at the directory server. In the step 3, the client has asked for the DNS resolution, and in step 4, he selected a RPO. In step 5, he sent a request for this to access the hidden services, and in step 6, the hidden services reply back with an independent path through the RPO. Now, when RPO will receive the request, it knows that for which circuit this value R has been earlier created, and he upload the data to that circuit, and by following the circuit, the browser receives the reply. So here, for sending the message and for receiving the reply, the independent path are being used, and all the traffic are being forwarded through the Tor network. So anyone who is sitting in between that, it cannot identify whether the hidden server is actually replying or not. So if nobody is known about the reply, then they cannot identify what is the actual IP address of this dark website. Now, as I already discussed, there was some good causes. Because of that, the concept of this anonymous services and the concept of this Tor browser have been proposed, but nowadays, instead of using it for a good purposes, people are using it for different kind of fraudulent activities. So as a cyber security people, we have to understand that which kind of different fraud that is being performed using this dark website, and how we can prevent ourselves from being affected through it. So first of all, the first question is whether we should use Tor browser or not. Like, if a user want to achieve anonymity and he does not want to harm anyone, then one can achieve this Tor services. For example, there are some threat intel, or there are some threat sharing which are being shared using the darknet, and as a honest user, I can access those services using the Tor browser. And if for our analysis purpose, for our cybersecurity analysis, sometimes we want applications or some websites that are being restricted from our territory. Then for those communication, we can use this Tor services. But if we are using this for malicious purposes, then we should not use this Tor browsers. What are the fraudulent activities that is being performed using this? Like, people are using different kind of dark websites for gambling purposes, for hidden services, to upload different porn contents. They are using it for illegal file sharings, for torrent services. Since the IP address of exit node is being revealed, then people are using it for different kind of cyber attacks that are being performed using this darknet and dark websites. They are using it for selling of drugs, for frauds, and they are also using it to transfer some illegal or unwanted messages, like the messages which are anti-nationals, for regarding molestations, attacks, and for different kind of religious broadcasting. So these things are these are fraudulent activities that are being performed using this dark websites. Similarly, since nobody knows about what are the actual actual existence of these websites, the cyber attackers are using it to disclose various kind of data over the darknet. For example, cyber attackers are performing different kind of attacks, like trojans, keyloggers, and exploit kits that are launched using this dark website. Similarly, data that are being stolen from different organizations, these are uploaded over the darknet. For example, different kind of customer data. You might have heard about data breaches that are disclosed over the darknet. A different kind of financial data, intellectual properties, and trade secrets. All these are being uploaded over the darknet. So from the perspective of organization, the best thing is the organization should not allow to use such kind of communication from their premises. Like as a preventive measures, the organization can establish a policy that the user should not allowed to use Tor within the organization. At the perimeter level, they can also establish can keep some blacklisting of some Tor node, like they can find out the list of entire onion routers and can block at their perimeter level, like on the firewalls or a different kind of security infrastructures. And they can also block traffics if any traffic is using self-signed digital certificates. Since they are using entirely HTTPS communication, so they will require onion services will require a kind of digital certificates. So if we identify at perimeter level that any communication is using self-signed certificate, so those can be blocked. So these are the preventive measures that can be used by an organization to prevent misuse of the Tor. Similarly, anyone gets confused the difference between deep web and dark web. So dark web only refer to those websites which have .onion as a domain name. Deep web consists of those part of internet which are not indexed by any search engines. Like there is a lot of content which are behind the network and cannot crawled by any search engines, like medical records, government resources, legal documents, financial recorded. All those things are considered as a deep web. Similarly, many people confuse with what is the difference between VPN and dark web. In VPN, all the traffics are encrypted and transferred to the VPN server. So VPN does not provide anonymity, but it provides privacy. Privacy. Why anonymity is not being provided? Because whenever we send any request, all the requests are being recorded using VPN. So the VPN server knows everything about the identity of the users. But the dark web, the network is performing multiple level of encryption. So any node which is sitting in between the communication cannot know the identity of the sender. There are some questions like, can we de-anonymize the dark web? No, it's really difficult to de-anonymize the dark web. One has to identify different kind of approaches as a law enforcement agencies to to find out the criminals who are sitting behind the dark net and performing the criminal activities. And if I install the Tor browser, whether it becomes onion router, no. Whenever we install a browser, it does not become onion router. To make a device as a onion router, one has to install relay services, and upon installing relay services, that node can work as a onion router. This was all from my side. There are some references that one can follow to go more to go in more detail about this dark web. Anybody has any query I can answer? Okay, someone has asked what is hidden directory server. So whenever a user install Tor browser, it downloads the list of entry node, list of IPs that work as an entry node, exit node, and the relay node. So these lists are available at directory server, and the browser download those lists from that server. Since the directory server also wants to hide himself, so these are distributed in the nature. So anybody can download these lists from this distributed set of directory servers. Okay, so anybody else has any queries? VPN services are useful for an organization. So it's entirely depend upon the organization. Like if they wants to provide services, remote services, like someone is sitting and working as a work from home, then VPN services can be used to create a dedicated tunnel between the client machine, which is at a remote place, and with the organization network. So for those kind of purposes, VPN services are good. But if someone is using for individual purpose, then VPN services can be useful to access content which are normally restricted by the by the organizations or territory. Yeah. But with respect to anonymity, the all the our traffics are being recorded with VPN server. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Any questions?